In the deep, mysterious waters of the world's oceans, a creature reigns supreme as both a prized delicacy and a symbol of the sea's bounty, the giant lobster. Known for its massive size and sweet, succulent meat, this incredible creature is hunted by fishermen with skill, precision, and a deep respect for the ocean. But catching these valuable lobsters isn't just about skill, it's about surviving the relentless forces of nature and maintaining a sustainable balance in an ever-changing world. Giant lobsters don't just live anywhere. They make their home in deep-sea caves, coral reefs, and areas near the ocean floor, where they hide in crevices, often out of sight from all but the most experienced fishermen. The depth, the strong currents, and the hidden nature of their habitat make the hunt for these lobsters incredibly difficult. So, how do fishermen manage to bring them up from such depths? The trap method. This is the most common method and the one most respected by those of us who know the sea well. We drop specially designed traps made from iron or wood into the water, filled with bait like dead fish or fresh squid. These traps are often placed at depths ranging from 30 to 300 meters, marked with buoys so they can be easily retrieved after several days. The lobsters, drawn by the scent of the bait, find their way into the traps, where they become easy prey. The traps are designed to be gentle, ensuring the lobsters are caught without injury. This method requires patience, as traps need to be carefully checked and retrieved at the right time to ensure the catch remains fresh. But not all of us rely on traps. Some fishermen, especially those with diving skills, use scuba tanks to descend into the depths themselves, seeking lobsters hiding in underwater caves and crevices. This method is far more physically demanding, requiring strong swimming skills, mental toughness, and the ability to dive deep, often to the bottom of the ocean, where the pressure can be intense. While diving, we use our hands or specially designed sticks to herd the lobsters into nets, avoiding their sharp claws that can easily deliver a painful pinch. It's a thrilling, yet dangerous pursuit, and only those who are truly skilled dare take on such a challenge. However, this method is more suited for shallower waters, areas where the lobsters are less frequently targeted by traps. Diving is physically taxing, and the risks involved make it less common, but for many of us, it's part of the adventure. Lobster traps are specially designed to keep lobsters inside without causing harm to them. These traps are typically made from iron or wood, with bait inside to attract the lobsters. The bait can be dead fish or fresh squid, the two most popular types that lobsters are attracted to. The traps are dropped to the ocean floor in areas where lobsters are known to frequent, such as underwater caves, coral reefs, or crevices in the rocks. The traps are dropped at depths ranging from tens to hundreds of meters and are marked with floating buoys on the water's surface, making it easier for fishermen to locate them. After several days, the fishermen return to harvest the lobsters. This method is highly effective and causes minimal damage to the lobsters. The traps are designed in such a way that lobsters enter but cannot escape, while keeping them healthy until they are harvested. Compared to diving to search for lobsters, the trap method requires much less physical effort. Fishermen can check and retrieve traps without having to directly interact with the deep-sea environment. This method helps maintain a sustainable resource because the traps can be retrieved and reused multiple times without causing significant harm to the marine ecosystem. Large waves and strong currents can cause traps to be lost or damaged, especially on rough sea days. This can lead to significant loss of effort and resources for the fishermen. In areas with high lobster populations, fishermen must compete for the best trap locations. Sometimes traps can be stolen or sabotaged by other fishermen. Since the traps only catch lobsters when they enter, the harvest can sometimes be uneven. Some traps may yield very few lobsters, while others may be empty if the lobsters aren't attracted to the bait. Scuba diving is one of the traditional and challenging methods for searching for giant lobsters. Divers need superior skills, physical strength, and endurance to work underwater in challenging conditions. How it works: in this method, divers use scuba tanks to dive to the ocean floor in search of lobsters hiding in crevices, caves, or under coral reefs. This requires the diver to endure the pressure of the water at greater depths and work in an oxygen-deprived environment. While diving, the diver can use their hands or specialized sticks to herd lobsters into nets, or catch them by hand. This requires technique and agility to avoid being attacked by the lobster's sharp claws. Scuba diving allows divers to access lobsters in hard-to-reach areas such as underwater caves or narrow crevices where lobsters may be hiding. If the diver is skilled, they can catch a large number of lobsters in a single dive, as they can actively search and catch lobsters directly from their hiding spots. Compared to the trap method, diving allows divers to easily check areas rich in lobsters, making it more effective for harvesting. Diving at great depths, where there is strong water pressure and limited oxygen, poses significant risks. Divers may face oxygen depletion or become trapped in crevices. This method requires divers to have professional diving skills, good physical health, and the ability to operate in difficult environments. This method is only effective in shallower waters where lobsters are found. Deeper areas are challenging for diving and harvesting lobsters. Both the trap method and scuba diving method have their own advantages and disadvantages. If you are a giant lobster fisherman, you will need to choose the method that best suits your experience, skill set, and the ocean conditions in your area. The trap method is a good option for those who want a less physically demanding approach while maintaining sustainability for the resource, though it comes with the risks of sea conditions and intense competition. The scuba diving method is more suitable for fishermen with good physical endurance and diving skills, allowing direct access to lobsters in deeper and more challenging areas, but it is also fraught with greater danger. Nonetheless, both methods require patience, caution, and a love for the sea in order to harvest giant lobsters effectively and sustainably. The life of a fisherman isn't just about catching lobsters. It's about enduring the harshest conditions the sea can throw at us. Strong waves, powerful currents, and unpredictable weather can destroy traps or make the harvest nearly impossible. On rough days, we face losing our traps, risking not just our catch, but our livelihoods. For divers, the stakes are even higher. When diving in the deep, water pressure can be overwhelming, and accidents like lack of oxygen or getting trapped in a crevice are real dangers. These dangers are a part of every fisherman's life on the sea, and they push us to be better, more prepared, and more careful in our work. With the abundance of lobsters comes competition. In areas rich with lobster populations, fishermen are constantly battling to secure the best spots. Sometimes, traps are stolen or sabotaged, forcing us to vigilantly protect our catches. We've even had to form patrol teams to guard our traps, often investing in GPS technology to monitor their locations remotely. It's a tough game of cat and mouse out there. But we know that if we work hard and protect our resources, we can outlast any challenges the ocean throws at us. Like any high-value industry, lobster prices are highly volatile. On a good day, the demand for giant lobster soars, especially during festivals or holidays, pushing prices up and delivering big profits. But on the flip side, if there's a surplus of lobsters or a drop in demand, prices can fall dramatically, leaving us with losses. Market conditions can change overnight. That's why we must be adaptable, adjusting our strategies according to the fluctuations in both demand and the market's whims. Catching lobsters isn't just about profit. We also understand the importance of sustainable fishing. Overfishing would harm the very resource we depend on. That's why there are rules in place. Each country has set guidelines on the minimum size of lobsters we can catch, the legal fishing seasons, and how many traps we can use. These measures are crucial in keeping the lobster population stable and preventing depletion. We also need to respect the habitats of the lobsters. By using marine reserves or creating temporary no-fishing zones, we allow the lobsters to reproduce, ensuring that future generations can thrive. The traditional methods of lobster fishing are evolving. More and more, we are seeing the rise of lobster farming, where lobsters are raised in controlled, artificial environments. This reduces the pressure on wild lobster populations and provides a more sustainable source for the growing market. Countries like Australia, Canada, and Vietnam are at the forefront of lobster farming. We're using advanced technology to optimize the farming process, ensuring that lobsters grow faster and healthier, ready to meet the demand without harming the environment. Modern fishing vessels now come equipped with automatic trapping systems that reduce labor and increase efficiency. Technologies like sonar and underwater cameras are also being used to identify lobster habitats more precisely, helping us make our harvests more successful. And with blockchain technology, the entire process of catching, processing, and distributing lobsters is being recorded transparently, ensuring the quality of the product and preventing fraud. Lobster fishing isn't just a livelihood for fishermen, it's a vital part of the economy for many coastal communities. Countries like the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand earn billions of dollars each year from lobster exports. For us, this means job creation, economic growth, and a deep connection to our cultural heritage. But with all this wealth comes a responsibility to protect the environment. We need collaboration between governments, fishermen, and conservationists to ensure the lobster industry remains strong and sustainable. Despite all the challenges, we remain hopeful. With advancements in fishing methods, better conservation